fascinating new study explored the way people perceive political messages on Twitter. And the findings of this study indicate that individuals tend to assume more anger behind the tweets than the author had intended. Now, when you really stop and think about it, it's unsurprising. I mean, it's part of the reason why when you're texting someone or sending a work email, especially if you're a woman, you feel the need to include a lot of exclamation marks to show that you're excited and enthusiastic and not at all, flatlining on whatever the new project is or whatever you're being asked to do. But it's true.
Awfully specific.
No, but it's true. It's true. Like, think about it. When you're reading a message, you don't hear someone.
No,
right?
I totally agree with you. I'm kidding around.
Yeah.
Because that's why I'll put an exclamation point at the end of thanks.
The inflation of exclamation is really a problem in America.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I put my back into it. Hey, no, I really do appreciate it, right? And there's a ton of things that I try to be overly clear on in text, which is kind of a pain in the ass, and definitely in emails, because it's hard to read them, and because the communication is lost without a human being conveying it to you, and facial expressions and the other context that you would have in a normal conversation.
So these findings really do help to shed light on why interactions on social media, namely Twitter, end up being such a dumpster fire. So first, let's get to the details on how the study was conducted. The researchers conducted 3 Twitter field surveys, measuring authors' moral outrage in real time and also comparing their self-reports to observers' judgments of the author's moral outrage. The researchers implemented a research pipeline consisting of 3 phrases, okay? Or phases, I should say, not phrases, 3 phases. According to the paper, they searched Twitter's application programming interface, API, for public tweets about contentious topics in American politics, classified the tweets found in the search for whether they contained moral outrage expression, and 3, direct messaged users who consented to open DMs and asked them to report on the emotions they experienced when they posted their tweet. So real quick, before we continue, obviously there are some limitations to this methodology because it relies on self-reporting, right? And let's say someone tweeted something that led to some backlash because people perceived it as being outraged or whatever. They might temper, the response in the study. As a result of that. I just want to be clear about that.
There's one other aspect to that, and I know because this is like tailor-made study about me, right? Like people think I'm the angriest guy on Twitter, and in real life I'm generally a super happy person. So like if they met me, they wouldn't even believe that, right? And so it kind of proves the point that they're making. But sometimes I'll send what appears to be an angry tweet, and there's no question that it looks angry, but I'm not angry. I'm just I'm angry about that. I'm not angry about life, or I'm outraged by that, but I'm not like just generally aggrieved, right? So if they ask me in a DM, are you angry right now?
You mad, bro?
You mad, bro? I'd be like, no, right? But that's why it's a little misleading in that sense, because the tweet can still be angry without the sender being angry. So that's part of it. And then there's the miscommunications, which is true, which is the main thing that they're pointing out. And then sometimes I state things as facts and people interpret that as angry. Like I'm like, look, I think all the politicians are corrupt because they all take campaign contributions, which I think are bribes. People are like, man, you're really angry at the politicians. No, I'm just stating a fact. They're corrupt. I'm past angry about it. I was angry 20 years ago when I realized it. Right? Yeah. So there's that perception issue as well.
So the DMs were sent shortly after the tweet in question, right? Or the user's tweets in question, in order to capture their emotions after the specific moment, okay? So the study included 333 tweet authors and 650 observers in total. And here's what they found. In the observer phase, politically partisan participants were recruited to rate the level of outrage and happiness expressed by the authors of the collected tweets. Each participant judged a selection of 30 tweets, including both outrage and non-outrage tweets. Using a general linear model, okay, the studies found consistent evidence of overperception of outrage, with observers perceiving higher levels of outrage than reported by the authors. Although people tended to overestimate the level of moral outrage conveyed by authors in their tweets, this overperception did not occur when perceiving happiness. this is, everybody should get off Twitter. Like, Twitter is such a disaster. And by the way, I have a different take on Twitter. I think that most of the people who are hyperactive on Twitter represent the extreme ends of the political spectrum. Everyone else is so terrified to speak up or participate in the conversation because if you do, you'll get dogpiled immediately. If you have a nuanced take on a political issue, how dare you? It's not allowed. You're supposed to be super black and white on all of your takes on Twitter. You're either on team A or team B. And if you ever give the team that you're not on even a little bit of credit, or you acknowledge that they're making a point that might be accurate, how dare you? You must be a right winger or you must be a left winger. You're a good guy, you're a bad guy. That's what Twitter is. That's what Twitter really is. Let's just keep it real.
So I'm gonna tell you something about the algorithm that reinforces that, and then later I'll tell you about how this creates a vicious cycle. But I'm gonna do that by reading you a tweet of someone's response to me recently. So they wrote, Alice Caterpillar wrote, and this is the strangest account I follow. Some posts make me nod in agreement, others make me roll my eyes, some make me mad, and some make me smile. And she concluded, I like it, okay?
Oh, nice.
Okay, so now, but what she's pointing out there is, I don't get it, you're supposed to be on one side, and the facts aren't supposed to matter. And you're only supposed to get mad at the other side and defend your side 100%, right?
Yeah, I don't comply to that.
And so that's what, and so why does she assume that? Partly because of our modern day politics, but partly because of the algorithm. Guys, the algorithm, when you, I know because some of my tweets go supernova viral, some of them are duds, some of them are in the middle. And I know the ones that are gonna be duds, and I don't care that they're duds. I say them because I mean them, right? The ones that are not going to do well, quote unquote, are the ones where I have a nuanced take, where I criticize both sides, right? Those don't do well, why? Because they don't get retweeted and they don't get liked because the Biden people are confused. They're like, wait, do I like it? It criticized Biden, I can't like it. And the Trump people are like, wait, do I like it? It criticized Biden, but it did criticize Trump. I can't like it or retweet it. So the algorithm doesn't reward it because it has nuance. Yeah. Right? But if you write something extreme, all the people on your side are like, retweet, etc. And that creates the beginning of this vicious cycle of anger.
Yeah, I think the algorithm, the outrage that people feel, the anger that people feel is not an accident. It's partly manufactured by the algorithm because it keeps you engaged longer. I mean, I think anyone who's been active on Twitter can probably attest to this, right? You get sucked in. You tweet something, it leads to some backlash, then you engage in a debate and it just keeps going on and on. It serves you up tweets that might be inflammatory, might disagree with your political view. You engage in the argument, you engage in the conflict. The point is engagement. The longer you're on the platform, the easier it is to sell advertising on the platform, okay? Now with Elon Musk, he somehow manages to bungle all of it, but the outrage is still there. Furthermore, let's get back to the study. The authors wrote that, quote, we found that observers' overperception of outrage is positively associated with their political social media use, suggesting that people who spend more time using social media to learn about politics are more likely to overperceive outrage.
Yes, so guys, now the vicious cycle. So you see a tweet that looks a little bit angry, you think it's very angry, and then that makes you angry. And then you send a tweet that's a little bit more angry, that is perceived as very angry, which then leads to another tweet, which is even angrier, and round we go in an algorithm built to generate nonstop anger.
Right, and it creates more polarization, but the study's authors titled it false polarization, right? In that we actually agree more than we think, but because of the setup here, because of how social media is built, in this case Twitter, we overestimate how divided the country is or how much we disagree.
But I'll go further than this study. That's not just true of social media, it's also true of mainstream media.
Yeah.
Because in reality, as we showed you earlier in today's show, 2/3 of the country agrees on a shocking number of policies. In fact, almost all the policies. And so, and oftentimes is way past 2/3, like paid family leaves at 84%, raising taxes on the rich is at 76%. These are giant numbers. But what does the media show you? They don't show you the agreement, partly because those are issues they don't agree with. They don't want you to know that 3/4 of Americans want to raise taxes on the rich, because almost everyone in media is rich, right? And the corporations they run are the corporations that are getting the tax cuts from the politicians.
Yep.
So they don't want you to have paid family leave because they're corporations that would, it would cost them money if you got 12 weeks off after having a baby. So they don't show you the agreement because they don't agree with your agreement. What they do show you is things that are very divisive, culture wars. Okay, that person hates LGBT people. These people love LGBT people. Hates blacks or immigrants, and then loves immigrants, blacks. And so let's fight, let's fight, let's fight. It's good for ratings, right? And it's good to distract you from their corporate agenda. It's perfect for mainstream media and social media. This is not an accident.
In fact, the results suggest that biases impacting emotion perception of individuals translates into even larger biases when judgments are made about a group. This finding sheds light on the effective building blocks of large collective biases, such as in the cases of pluralistic ignorance, where attitudes held by a minority of group members are believed to be the majority. That is my favorite excerpt from the study.
Yes,
100% true.
And so it's unfortunately, but like I said, both social media and mainstream media they twist your perception of reality. They show you a broken mirror. They show you the wrong reflection. It shows an angry, vitriolic country, and it's driving us to be angry and vitriolic. It doesn't just show it, perception becomes a reality, right? And by the way, it also forces good people to participate in that. If I might be so bold, I'll put myself in that category because I want us to get along. I want us to focus on the 3/4, the 2/3 of people of the country agreeing on all these important policy issues. But when they say, "Oh, okay, gay people shouldn't have these rights," well, then I got to fight back, right? So they force us into a fight, and now both sides are really angry at each other. And God damn it, we forgot about paid family leave again, right? And so anger leads to more anger, hatred leads to more hatred.
And the anger.
Yes, it sounds like Yoda, but it's true. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.